Mm. That was Evercrisp. I can tell. Mm. I love apples so much. Not all of them. Do not give me a Granny Smith. Do not give me Red Delicious. But some of the varieties are so tasty. It's unbelievable. Mm. So I cut them real thin so that way I can like make them last as long as possible because they are so delicious. When I used to work in sales, I would always have this as my like mid-morning snack. A whole bunch of apple slices and soy nut butter. I'm just gonna like grab them as I ran back there. Mm. So a lot of varieties of apple trees, they'll take and they'll just like plant a large amount of seeds and allow them to be cross-pollinated with other plants. And a lot of the time this results in a crappy piece of fruit, okay? But sometimes it results in a delicious, incredible new creation. And I think that's what happened with Evercrisp. I believe they planted 50,000 Honeycrisp and it got cross-pollinated with a Fuji. And that's how we got this delicious, amazing thing. Mm. So good too. Mm. This is better than any kind of apple you could ever get on the market when I was a kid. Back in my day. Also, apparently you can like patent different varieties. So there's a college in Washington, I think it is, that has held some of the patents for some of the biggest apples. And they hold it for like 15 years. So they control the parameters of how it is grown very specifically. It has to meet a certain quality level. It has to be good soil. It has to be the most premium fruit. And so that's why sometimes you see varieties will be really good for years. Then all of a sudden it's just not so great anymore. It's because those standards have been lowered and it's been opened up to, just like the general public to buy and sell. Grow and sell. So sometimes the newer varieties are better also just because they're being kept to a higher level of quality. Awesome. Apple season is technically in late fall, so we're actually eating. This is probably an apple from, the crop from last year actually. So this is an apple that's probably about 4 or 5 months old and it's still so good. Obviously, like the fresher the better, but also just the fact that I can even access a piece of really good fruit that's affordable like this. In March, almost April, is so cool. I have this neighbor kid who's just over the fence, and recently we've started this thing with apples. Okay, he's just hit a growth spurt. He's 13. I bet he's grown 4 inches over the last 3 months, okay? And one day he goes, "Hey, Trisha, do you have any extra food?" And his mom is like, "Shut up." To him. I said, "Yeah, I've got some apples." So I went in and I brought him back out an apple, Cosmic Crisp. And he liked it so much the next day. As soon as I opened my back door here, and he goes, "Hey, Patricia." I said, "Hola," because I always say, "Hola, hola." He said, "You got any more apples?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And so his little head pops up over the fence. He's standing on a chair. It's like Wilson from Home Improvement. He's the neighbor, pops up, okay? He grabs that apple and says, "Thanks." And every single time I'd say to him, "Be sure to wash it before you eat it because of the wax." And so by the 4th day, I gave him an apple. I handed it to him, and he just instantly said, "I'll wash it before I eat it. Thank you." I'm totally happy being the neighbor that supplies an apple. I had this neighbor when I was growing up that would come outside and play frisbee with me. He was like 75 and he'd play frisbee, and sometimes he would set up his telescope and show my sister and me the stars, and it was really cool. And so I just like, I want to be that in other people's lives, you know? And if my apple brings a little magic to his life and gives him a little nourishment, that's cool. But in the summer, it switches over to being watermelons, and he's like, hey, you got any extra watermelon? It's been a thing for a couple of years now. I buy a lot of orange watermelon during the summer. Orange and yellow and pink and coral, and I love me some good fruit. And peaches. There was this place I picked peaches at last year. There's an orchard I go to sometimes, but Facebook Marketplace. I know it sounds like a strange place to find fruit, but it's a good way to connect with local people. And somebody in like the big town over said they had a bunch of peaches. So I went over there, didn't speak English. The guy just like started speaking Spanish to me and hands me a hard hat. And he said it was a bowl, and walks us back to the trees. We're like ducking and crawling under all these pretty sizable peach trees, and there were a million peaches, and he starts plucking them off and tossing them in this hard hat, like more than the hard hat, and he's just like throwing them in here left and right. And I'm like, oh, guess we're not picking. Okay, $5. For $5, this man gave me like 30 peaches. Okay, I did it twice, and I got so many peaches. Again, I was like, hey, you want some peaches next door? So be sure to check like places you would not consider and local places for vegetation, because sometimes that local fruit, ooh, that's the best. One of these was also a special kind. It's called a water core, where it has like a very sugary, watery area inside of it. It's so good. If you're looking for more apple knowledge, the Apples subreddit, not to be confused with the Apple subreddit, which is about like iPhones, Apples is fabulous. And there's a lot of really cool people there that are just connecting about different kinds of fruit all the time. I love it. So check that out if you want to. So I don't think I described the difference. The Evercrisp is super, super crispy and sweet, while the Hunnyz is a little bit more fragrant and floral. It really does feel a lot like something. Oh, you know what? I think Hunnyz is actually one of those that also was cross-pollinated, and that's why it's called Hunnyz. It's because the bees made it. However, it also tastes like a delicious, fragrant bouquet of flowers, which is kind of a Hunnyz bee type thing, you know? They're both excellent in their own regard. Alright, last bite. That was a very good snack. That was super delicious.